Hi, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. My name is Isha, and this is going to be my introduction / reintroduction video. So if you are new to my channel, my name is Isha, and I've been on a weight loss journey for a little while now. Honestly, it feels like most of my life I've been on a weight loss journey since my late childhood, but I digress. I started off my weight loss journey at about 265 pounds, and yes, it's been about 6 years since I've been on this journey. A little less than that because I started once I had my daughter, and she is 5.5 in about 2 weeks, a little less than 2 weeks. So it's been a while that I've been on this journey. I started off my journey at 265 pounds. That was when I was like, okay, I really need to do something. And back in October, I had gotten, or like late September, early October, I had gotten myself down to 219.5. So that was October of 2025. And then we went to a fall festival, and I don't know what happened. I ate an apple donut and everything kind of just went down the tubes, and I got so off track. Fast forward 5 months later. Well, I guess I did try a couple times from that moment till now to kind of get myself back on track, and I was successful, and I'd lose 10 pounds and I'd gain 10 pounds. And then where we are today, it sucks to talk about, but in order to go forward and to restart this journey, I have to be honest about my past and my present right now. So where I am today, I am 247 point something pounds. I can't remember what the point, whatever it was, but 247 pounds. So obviously that is devastating, not shocking or surprising. I've been noticing both on my scale and just with the way that I feel physically that I have been gaining weight like steadily over the last 5 or so months. And so yeah, I'm not shocked about where I am right now, but it is devastating in the fact that like I let myself kind of get back to this point. Something that I struggle with, and I've always struggled with in every aspect of my life, is like commitment and consistency to things. So I might get on something and like it's a miracle if I make it through 2 weeks. And I think like back when I had lost, like when I had gotten down to 219, I was like 3 weeks in. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm really on this. And then I fell off. And so I think that's like a blow that was like really, really hard to come back from. And I'm still struggling to this day. There was a little while there where I was doing well, and I had gotten myself back down to like 236 pounds. I was like, okay, I've lost like 10 pounds. And I was like, I'm back on this. And then I fell off again. So that consistency aspect and not letting myself kind of just spiral, that is going to be like the hardest part of this journey for me and in every area of my life. So I don't want this to just be a weight loss journey. I am a mom of one in my 30s, and I am 32. I still have not graduated high school, which is, very embarrassing to say. I'm getting closer and closer. I'm like 5 credits away. All of them are electives, so it's going to be like super easy to finish, just a matter of like registering and getting it done. I do not have a driver's license. I have my G1, so I live in Ontario. Our license program, I believe, like your G1 is your learner's permit, and then you get your G2, and then you become a full G driver. It's like your full license. So I am going to start doing some like driving lessons with my boyfriend. Thankfully, he is willing to help me with that. Yeah, I don't really have any accomplishments that I can be like, yeah, I've done this in my life. And I think it's just really hard for me because I don't feel like a very worthy person. And especially being a mom, I want to be a good example to my daughter, and I want her to be able to look up to me in a positive way. And at this point in life, thankfully she's only 5, so she sees me as like a superhero or whatever. Not legitimately, but like she has a very good impression of me, or a good, I don't know. She seems to view me really well. She's 5, right? And I'm her mom, and we spend a lot of time together. So, but I don't think that if she was like 13 or even 10, that she would look up to me and be like, yeah, my mom's awesome. And I definitely want her to kind of like view me in a more positive light than in a more negative light. I think that that's like a normal kind of thing to want as a parent. I want to be a good example for her so that she has something to look up to that is like close to home. Anyways, I have a lot of work that I need to do for myself and for the benefit of myself, but also for the benefit of my entire family and especially my daughter. So that is my number one priority. And I'm also kind of starting to learn and be okay with putting myself as a priority, because since becoming a mom, it has been such a hard thing for me to really be okay with focusing on my needs, admitting my needs, and like, yeah, really kind of focusing and putting those as a priority as well, without also feeling like I'm being selfish and not putting my family first. But it's a struggle and a fine line, definitely, because it's just like, hey, well, what's better for the family as a whole? But what does that do to me? Because if I am kind of like diminished and reduced to nothing, then how does that benefit my family? And it's a very hard kind of thing to walk through. So I am trying to figure that out at the same time, because I want to feel like a person and not just a mom. Not saying that there's like, I hate saying just a mom, but I do want to feel like I have personhood outside of motherhood, or at least kind of like living alongside my motherhood, because I think that's important. But I have so much that I need to work through, considering my age and the things that I have done slash more so not done in my life. And I have a lot to work towards. And sometimes I think that that can be so overwhelming when I think about everything that I still need to accomplish in my life, and not really knowing exactly like where to start. Obviously, you just kind of start with one step at a time, but sometimes it's really hard for me to kind of make minimized goals in order to kind of get to those bigger goals that I have. I used to really struggle with the concept of coming up with goals in my life in general. Like, I remember being in high school and they start to really want you to focus and think about what you're going to be doing for the rest of your life and make goals that you can set in order to achieve the things that you might want from your life and from your future. And it's something I still struggle with, but I've always wanted to sing and do music and be creative. And when it was just like, okay, well, can you think of some goals? Like, what are some small goals and some steps that you can take in order to get there? And I don't know why I really, really struggled with it. I could list off a bunch now. I'm not going to do that in this video because it'll just take up time that is just not needed. But I really struggled with coming up with small goals towards getting the big goal that I had in my head. And yeah, so it is something that I have struggled with my whole life, but I feel like I have finally slowly been able to do that and make goals for myself. So it's just a matter of actually doing the steps in order to reach those goals. So I have so much that I want to be able to focus on. And sometimes that can lead to burnout, because you start off with like this positive kind of, I can do this, I'm going to accomplish this, this is going to be awesome, there's so much that I can work on. And then suddenly you just get a day where you just don't have it in you. You lose all your motivation. And when you don't have a sense of discipline, like myself, like I do not have a sense of discipline, it can be very, very hard to push yourself to get back into something when you're just not feeling it. Or if there are things that are going on in life that make it hard to focus on those things, because it might be like weighing or pulling on your emotions or your mental ability to kind of like focus on those things, if you've got other things that are pulling you in other directions, or just things that are going on in the background. So one of the biggest things that I really want to focus on is my weight and losing weight, because I think like my physical health will have a huge effect on my mental health. And I know that they say like what you eat really affects your brain and stuff. And I know that sugar is not the best for you. And that is something that I struggle with so much. I would consider myself to be a little bit of a sugar addict. And so that can be, and I hate using that word because I know it can be like, I don't know if it's like offensive, but it's like, it's a strong word, right? So, but I do feel like it's kind of appropriate to the way that I have a relationship with sugar. And so that's really, really hard for me, because that's like the one food that really like causes me to binge and seems to take over my brain in terms of like food noise and stuff. Like when I get my food noise, it's usually for those snacky, high sugar type foods. So that's going to be hard, but I'm trying. I think the biggest thing is like starting off my morning with no sugar in my coffee. That has been big, because I think by not putting sugar in my mouth right away, it doesn't like turn that switch on in my brain of like, now I want more sugar, now I want more sugar. I think that's been helping, but there's not enough data to prove that yet. But yeah, I think that focusing on my weight is going to be a huge thing to get myself started. And I just want to do like a whole life journey, restarting my life in my 30s, not to sound like cliche, but I guess that is kind of what it is, or just finally discovering or finally starting life in my 30s, because I've been pausing myself for so long out of fear, because I don't want to fail at things. But then by not doing those things, obviously you kind of fail because you're not working towards anything, so you just stay stagnant. And that's kind of where I've been for most of my life, just due to fear. So I need to push back, and I'm going to focus mainly on my weight, but I just wanted to make a video to be able to be like, hey, well, it's not just going to be about my weight loss. It's going to be about like my journey as trying to become a better person, maybe forming routines, because I'm like, I don't have any routine in my life. I think the only routine I have is with like my daughter and her routines and keeping those in check. And then I just have to learn to be able to implement that for my own life and be consistent. That's going to be like my biggest struggle with everything in my life, is the discipline, the consistency, the commitment. It's going to be a journey, and I would really like to be able to document it and share it with people who may be going through their own similar things, or maybe that you've already kind of come out of this. I would love advice, or even just some kind of like positive words. If you could afford them to me, that would be wonderful, and I would really appreciate that. I hope that if you are watching this, you are doing well and you are aiming to take care of yourself, both physically, mentally, and emotionally, because I think it's really, really important, especially if we want to show up for those in our lives that we want to make a priority and who are very important to us. Thank you for taking time out of your day to watch this video, and I hope you'll be willing to go on this journey with me. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you in my videos coming up soon. Bye.